Welcome JFC operators. My name is Jorge Acuña, your safety and training manager, and today we're going to be talking about front-end loaders. The following requirements are based on the EHS safety manual and the operator's manual. So in this video, you're going to be learning about how to communicate hazards during the THA, the safety information on the equipment, preparing for safe operation of the equipment, the operation of the equipment, the parking of the equipment, and the shutting down of the engine.
We start our day with our daily THA meeting. This is when an operator communicates the dangers that all employees have to watch out for around a piece of equipment. Designate a signal person if it is needed. Talk about existing utilities in the area where the machine is being operated, and the process of the operator and other employees involved with the task of the day.
So whenever performing a pre-use inspection, you always want to do a 360-degree inspection of the equipment, outside and inside. So we're starting off at the engine compartment. Here, we're checking the oils, we're checking the coolants, we're checking the filters to see if they need to be cleaned. You check and see if there's any leaks, anything that's missing, anything that may look like it needs to be serviced or looked at. You want to always note it down on your inspection book. Once we're on the side of the piece of equipment, you want to look at the tires and the wheels, make sure that the tread is in good condition, the tires aren't cracked, they're not worn. You want to look at the wheels, make sure that it's not missing any nuts or bolts. You want to come around, check any of the hose areas, make sure that they're in good condition, they're not leaking. Remember, if a piece of equipment's leaking, then you want to make sure that we take it out of service until it gets fixed. You come around, you keep looking at stuff. We notice things like wood, rocks, stuff like that that could be in the area that could damage hoses, so you never know. So whenever we're in the front, we want to look at and make sure that the cylinders are in good condition, the hoses, the whole arm that controls the bucket. You want to look at your bucket, make sure that it's in working conditions, the cutting edges, anything that you can see that we might need attention. It's a good idea to jot it down. So once we're on this side, we want to look at the cab of the equipment. You want to look at any windows, make sure that they're not obstructing your view if they're damaged. You want to adjust your mirrors. You want to make sure all of your front lights are working, they're functioning. You want to have a functioning seat belt. We don't have problems with receiving equipment that has bad seat belts, but maybe every once in a while we rent equipment. We want to make sure that it has a seat belt on it. You want to check the cab of the inside of the equipment, that it's clean. You want to have a clean access. You want to check all the rungs, the rails, the steps. That way you don't slip, trip, or fall. So now once you're inside the equipment, like I said, you want to make sure that there's any windows that aren't shattered that'll obstruct your view. You want to make sure that you can look at all the functioning buttons. You want to have an operator's manual inside of every piece of equipment, as well as a fire extinguisher. Unfortunately, on this loader, we don't have one, so we're going to make sure we make that a point on the inspection checklist. You want to make sure, adjust your seats. Always make sure that you have a seat belt, functioning seat belt. Rental equipment that we get, or our own equipment, if it has a damaged seat belt, or if it doesn't have a seat belt, we need to make sure we get it replaced. You always want to make sure that the cab of the equipment is clean. Whether you're the last operator operating it, or you're the first one getting into it, you might want to clean up everything to make sure that there's nothing that can get in your way. Inside the cab, you want to make sure that you check that the horn works. You want to check that the backup alarm works. You also want to make sure that you check that the bucket is secured before you start operating a piece of equipment. So whenever you're getting down, you always want to make sure you are looking towards the cab, you're inside the rungs, and you're using 3 points of contact. Always important to pay attention to the needs for the area where you're working. If you need a flagger because you're crossing through traffic, if you need a spotter because you're in a congested area, or if you need an escort because you need to get on public roads, You need to make sure you have a beacon light and you have an escort with a construction light behind you. So remember guys, should you ever have any questions about a piece of equipment, any concerns about a piece of equipment, please communicate with your superintendent for the project or your area safety manager. And like always, thank you for your time.